So I says, yo, haha, it's all in the words.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Of course, you know, but if anyone watches this video, I am Podrey, um, aka DJ Poetic. This is a lady friend of mine. This is Zoe, and
Hey.
we're going to have a nice discussion. We're going to continue a discussion we had the other night when we were camping. And if you remember, Zoe, um, we were really on the topic of fulfilling what a woman wants.
Yep.
You know, the shell of it was my life experience with my baby's mother
Mm-hmm.
and the reasons why she left me and
Mm-hmm.
didn't want me to have anything to do with my child's life
Oh,
or her
well,
life.
that's added. I didn't know that part.
Right. We didn't get
Mm.
that far.
Mm-mm.
But we were on the part of, her leaving. And that's the part where we're talking on not fulfilling her wants, her needs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
so
think what we talked about, what I think from a woman's perspective is that she might have been looking for security, a foundation of security, being a new mother, um, being concerned about her now, her future. Maybe she didn't feel like you both wanted the same things at that time.
and I accept the part of me. I guess I don't know. It's hard to say because if it was the argument, I was really stating my case of me wanting to be there, me being ready to be there, mind, body, and soul.
Hmm.
But the problem I had was barriers, limitations,
Such as,
the title of being married.
that scared you?
It didn't scare me. It bothered me because if such a thing was going to keep us from reaching our potential, then what else was going to distract us? What else would um, cause another barrier to form? You know,
Hmm.
the whole thing of only being secure with the title, above our heads. It was a setback. It was a turnoff. It was uh, something I couldn't understand. And I understood her argument. I
What was her
understood
argument? What did she say?
she's saying the same thing that you're saying, plus more.
Hmm.
As
Mm-hmm.
far as being secure, and um, she was like, "How am I supposed to know if you're going to be mine on a
Mm-hmm.
level of monogamy, And I'm like, man, even if we were to get married, there's going to be a point where you're not going to trust me anyway. I'm like, 50% of the time, married men still cheat on their wives. 50% of the time, a wife is always going to be secure about her man stepping out on her anyway. So having a title of marriage isn't going to stop. Is not going to stop that level of insecurity. It may be helpful for a little while, but ultimately it's going to be up to her. To
So to me, it sounds like you're coming from a direction of fear of the what ifs, the unknowns, and she may have been prepared to go forward, but on the foundation of something secure. But you were looking out in the future. There's nothing wrong with that part. But all the what ifs, all the this could be, what if this happens?
we okay, so you got the 9 months of pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we had 3 or 4 months before we got pregnant. So that's what, roughly a year that we had been together.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we had discussions, it's hard to believe that we discussed things as serious as what's important to us, like titles.
But it seems like you were kind of nervous about the title. I don't think she was, right?
I wasn't nervous about the title. I was nervous about the barrier that it presented.
Okay, help me understand what barrier.
Okay, a barrier meaning I guess I wish I knew the definition. Like a barricade, a detour, something that got in the way of us progressing.
But what did you were talking about maybe something could get in the way, right?
That was getting in our way of progressing. It's like
What
she
was
didn't
getting in
want
your
to,
way?
the title of being married. Being married was like getting in the way, to where I was ready to move in together, to start looking for a place together. All of that. I was ready to do that. Like I said, I had the job, I had the vehicle, she had a vehicle. All we needed to do was sit down and get things going. Except she didn't want to move forward unless we got married.
Right. I can get that.
Right. So that became a reason for us to not move forward. And I'm like, let's say I got fired. And even though I was looking for other jobs, the title of me not having not title, but the whole thing of me not having a job, if it influenced us to argue, us to have a bad relationship, this like, I got 2 interviews. I got things going. I'm not lazy.
So did that happen though? Did you lose your job?
No.
While you were talking, so you were talking about things you were making decisions out of fear. What if the barrier and that stuff that when 2 people come together and when you're faced with that kind of stuff, you plow through it, and it just makes your relationship a little more, more stable. But you kept on bringing, to me, it sounds like you kept on bringing stuff, the would'ves, the could'ves, and titles might have scared you. Um, and it could be because of your environment, how you were raised. That's how we all make decisions. And that's where we only can move in what we know.
Let me ask you.
So,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
hmm
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Let me ask you this: have you been in a relationship, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, whether it's brother, sister, 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 brother, brother, or a relationship between you and platonic friend, and a moment came to where they did something that you thought was out of their character because it's something that you didn't know that they were
hmm
capable of doing, and a thought came up to where you're like, man, if I had known this about you, then such and such and such, I would have such and such and such, to have prepared yourself to be able to deal with this particular situation.
Hmm. Um. I don't know. I can't pinpoint any. I'm sure. I'm sure that that has happened to me. But you said like in a platonic or a sibling
Well,
kind of relationship, right?
it's when I think of relationship, I'm thinking no matter what it is, it's just something between you and somebody else.
Okay.
It ends with the word ship. Friendship,
Yes.
relationship. Yeah.
Yes, I've been in that kind of situation. Yes.
Okay. Now, how serious did you mean it when you, or how serious were you when you meant, if I had only known better?
I don't know if I said that to myself.
Okay. You remember I told you I learned vicariously through a lot of
Mhm.
other people. And another thing is I learned my lesson from my own mistakes.
Mhm.
So to weatherproof something, I thought it was important between two people to get prepared for situations, even though we were going to hit situations that we had no plan for, but just what if we did come across something that we talked about? Would we be able to handle it better
If
if we had already had our minds open to it years before?
mm, I don't know. I don't think we can always prepare ourselves for every little thing that might happen. I think that you sometimes life just happens, right?
Right,
Right. And I think that when you commit to relationship, you're taking a chance. It's a risk. Everything's
right.
not covered. It's unknown. And if you can make it with someone in an unknown territory and talk about things as they arise, and even talk about some things that try to hedge off some things. I think if you can work that out, then you're fine. I don't think that we can get into relationships and have it all figured out already. I don't think that we should run away from relationships because we don't have it all figured out. I think that's how you build on a relationship. I think that's how it gets stronger.
I remember hearing stories I remember how they depict things in movies and music when it comes down to old school relationships. I'm talking
Uh-huh.
about back in the day when we still had dirt roads,
I remember those days.
when courting was a word,
Mm-hmm.
when boy meets girl was an actual thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, you actually go through the steps. You see somebody and you get flustered, you
Mm-hmm.
blush, you're nervous, get butterflies in your
Mm-hmm.
stomach. You can go days, weeks, and months, just having bubble guts about, do I even say hi?
Right, 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 right.
And it
I can
leads,
recall those.
yeah, and it leads to all these stories that we used to want to have in our lives. Me being the sucker for love and hopeless romantic curved me into that fear that I had of
Hmm.
getting it wrong.
Hmm.
Even though logic says the same thing that you're saying, there's a lot of things that are going to happen in life that we have no
Mm-hmm.
control over. And we
Mm-hmm.
have to take one step. We have to we have to keep moving forward
Yes.
regardless. Keep taking steps forward.
Yes.
That was most logic and the most common sense type of way that I could look at life in general.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so my approach to relationships, especially one dealing with a life partner,
Mm-hmm.
was so important to me because they say you can't choose your family,
Right.
but you can choose the people that you're gonna fuck with.
Yeah.
Now I know I remember hearing that people are in your lives for a season, for a
Mm-hmm.
reason, and they're not guaranteed to be there. But
Mm-hmm.
I also remember seeing people fight for their relationship with, with a spouse, a boyfriend, girlfriend.
Right, right.
You have people that are like, I'm gonna love you till death do us part, and they mean that, even if
Yeah.
they're the one killing the person.
Oh
If I can't have you, nobody else will.
gosh.
The crazies.
Well, yeah, that's crazy.
You know, I also keep in mind that what's taboo to one person is a way of life to another person. You got all these philosophical things that aren't as big as the word is. They're just common damn sense.
Mm-hmm.
They're common feelings and thoughts. It's innate.
Right.
It's something that we were born with. It goes into a spiritual level of, if you really want to be with somebody, what are you willing to do on your part to do right by them, and do right by yourself first, but
Mm-hmm.
to do right by them. So me growing up, having this in my head, having this in my spirit, having this, yeah, it's like I don't want to get it wrong.
Oh, right.
I
Well, no,
don't
I don't
want.
think anybody intentionally goes into a relationship wanting to get it wrong. But sometimes we do. It's a learning thing.
But then haven't you seen people that you yourself question them and be like, I don't think that person is that serious because they didn't do XYZ to cement their
Yeah.
position.
Yeah.
See, I didn't want to be that stereotype either. I didn't want nobody looking at me being like, you didn't do your all.
You just wanted to be perfect.
Damn near as close. And
Mm.
and my argument in my arguments with folks, with females, they're like, well, I can't be perfect like you. I'm like, I'm far from perfect. If I was perfect, I wouldn't have you in the confused state that you are about me trying to be the best man that I'm trying to be. If I was perfect, I would have the words. If I was perfect, I would have the actions.
The actions, not perfect. You don't have to be perfect, but a lot of times, women look at actions more than they look at words. We just have to feel it, see it, experience it. We don't need always the words because sometimes you come short with the words. I mean, the words are bigger than the actions. We don't need that.
What is that saying? Actions speak louder than words?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There was, my mom had this picture on the wall.
Mhm.
It was a toy guy, a guy toy figurine type.
Mhm.
And he had his hands stretched out in front of him as though he was reaching for something.
Mhm.
There was a carrot, there was a stick tied to his head, and at the end of the stick was a carrot. Bottom half was carrot, top half
Mhm.
was a female. Didn't have on her shirt, so she had her titties showing. And
Mhm.
she had a seductive look on her face. And his facial expression was, I gotta have her, I gotta have her. But anyway, I'm trying to be descriptive with this. But at the bottom of the picture, it was one word. It was desire. So me being a kid with that in the living room, and I'm
Yeah.
constantly looking at it, because I'm like, I'm not really supposed to be focused in on the titties. You know, even though yum, but then I'm like, it's something about his facial expression that, you know, it's a reason why this picture's in our house.
Right. Right.
And it's
Right.
not just entertainment.
Right. There's a message.
Yeah. Why would it only be the word desire? I don't even know what that is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But nobody is taking the time to explain this to me. They're not, you know, even though the adults and everyone who was older to me would see me, you know, looking at that picture time to time, nobody stopped to explain what that picture was.
Right. Right.
And it took me a long time to figure out what the fuck it meant. And I figured it out. It is, you know, a person can chase after desire and never ever reach what they're chasing
Oh, they're
after.
just chasing it. Gotcha.
You
Okay.
know, sometimes we have to be careful what we focus our desires on. We got to be
Mhm.
careful what we're chasing after what we're desiring. Things like that. You know, we could be in a race to go nowhere, to
Yeah.
obtain nothing.
True.
You know, and I mean, the word profound pops into mind, but I don't want to use a word with so much meaning. It's like,
Mhm.
you know, I'm sitting here smiling in
Mhm.
real life because I loved having that type of mind.
Mhm.
And I'm no better than anybody else. We're all good at something.
Yes, that's true.
And one of the things that I happen to be good about is thinking on this level.
Give them prayer hands, say what's up America. Half of you should know me, right? Other half a replica. Shout out to my